Welcome to the Canadian Scrapbookers Technique Tasters. I am so excited for today's show because we have the lovely Christy Riopel. Christy Riopel has been designing for Canadian Scrapbooker magazine sincerely since the beginning of time, and it's just an absolute pleasure to have you here, and we have to be really nice to her so that she comes back.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Our pleasure. Christy, you created this gorgeous layout using dies, and I think the focus of it is going to be this geranium flower. Is that
Yes.
correct? Okay. Do you want to start off by telling us some of the supplies that you used for the background, and then we'll move on to creating the flower after?
Sure.
Okay.
So the base of the layout, which is what you always start with, is this awesome paper from Simple Stories. It's their life documented snap collection.
And it's a snap to use.
It is. And you know what,
That's why
nice
they call it snap.
basic stuff to build upon, so it's really good.
Cool.
The next layer that I built is this great little chicken wire die cut. That's from Elizabeth Crafts as well. And I've just cut that out of some more Simple Stories paper a couple times, and you can see that I've layered it.
You can see it sort of hiding there.
Yes.
It's a neat die. This actually, it looks like it's something that you wouldn't know what to use with, but it's fabulous for that underneath the building that you talked about.
You could put it on every layout.
Yeah, yeah.
You
great.
really could.
I agree.
Okay, and then onto that, I added also some Simple Stories chipboard.
From that snap collection?
From the same collection. Everything coordinates, right?
Everything coordinates.
And the Simple Stories little
sentiments
what do they call
or
them?
stickers.
Sentiments, stickers. They call them word strips.
Right. They kind of look like a typewriter font. It's kind of a trendy looking guy.
Yeah.
Love it.
Very cute. Okay, and then I stamped out my title, and I used this really great larger than life alphabet and numbers from Stampin' Up, and it's an acrylic die. What's nice about this is that because it's clear, you can see the stamp.
Right.
The acrylic stamps are clear, so you can see them. And I recommend stamping one letter at a time because there's a bit of space around each stamp, and if you put the whole word on, your letters are going to be spaced out. So to get them nice and tight, like I have them here,
Right, I see that. Like,
one letter at a time.
Like here with the O and the G, you kind of
Yeah.
overlapped them a tiny bit.
Yeah.
And I think it also, well, but the beautiful thing though is with the clears is that you can keep stamping over top of it again and again and again. And I have to say that this is a nice big font to work with that Stampin' Up has created.
It is.
Yeah,
It's
I think
great
it's
for scrapbook titles. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Let's get on to the fun guy. I'm not going to lie, when I look at this flower, I get a little bit scared. I think that it must be quite time consuming to make. I think it might be a little bit of a commitment to get started when you do this.
I think the die makes it simple. It's a little, like it takes some time to glue everything together, but the die makes it really simple and straightforward to put it together. So
Okay.
no skill required.
Prove it to me, Christy.
I will. So we're going to start with our Sizzix machine.
The Big Shot die cutting machine.
Exactly. And onto there, I've placed this awesome geranium die from there, and I've placed the 2 petal plates and the base of the flower.
Okay. So it was just kind of trial and error. We had talked about before that which dies you use to get this certain look that you want. I imagine there's all different kinds of arrangements that you could do.
I'm sure that you could. Like
Right.
you could create all sorts of different looks. And you could, make some bigger and some smaller and double up and things like that. So I'm going to lay these like there, and I'm going to put my little piece of scrap. And this is great for using up your scraps. Like, I don't know about you, but I have buckets. Like buckets of scraps.
Yes.
So I'm going to put it right over top of my dies.
You got some Simple Stories pattern paper.
Yep. And then I'm going to put the clear plate.
The clear plate, which is
here
hiding. There you go.
Excellent. Right over top. And then we're just going to give it a little roll through.
I'll hold it for you.
It's a new plate.
It's new, yes. This is their latest Big Shot die cutting machine too. It's nice and white and classic.
It's pretty.
Okay.
Okay, we'll get that
Put
out
that
of the
back.
way.
There you go.
Okay, and then we'll lift our plate and pull off all of our pieces.
And it just comes out so nice.
Look at that, they're like stuck right to the thing.
Yeah.
I do have to say the Elizabeth dies really release quite easily. I have found that that's quite nice. So when you get stuff stuck in, you just give it a little tap.
Tap, tap.
And the stuff pops right out. See, look at that.
Yeah. Perfect.
Sorry, I didn't mean to bang your hand there.
Oh, sure.
All right.
Okay.
Once you have all the pieces out, we're going to assemble it. just like this. So I've squished up some of the little tiny flowers.
I see it. I'm going to put it over here.
Yes, we'll put it on our mat.
You had some pre-cut ones that you did earlier.
Yeah, that's so that you can make a flower and I can make a flower.
Oh, look at that. I get to play. Okay, so you have some scrunched together already.
Yeah, so all I did was I just took the little petals and just gave them a little crunch. And once they're crunched up, we're going to dip them in. This is some Mono Multi by Tombow that I've just put on a plate. And you're just going to stick it to the base.
Because it's all about the base.
No trouble.
No trouble. Here we go.
And there's no, like, I'm sure there's probably supposed to be an exact way to do it, but I played with it and I found you could just be random and it turns out great. It's so easy.
And this glue dries clear? Is that?
It dries completely clear.
Oh yeah.
And you want to use a wet glue for this because really that's the thing that's going to get into all of the grooves.
That's right, because it is literally just the tiniest little tip here that you need to put the glue on. I think you just need one more on there.
Yeah, I think we'll just tuck it into the edge here, just like this.
Cute. Yeah, that's actually pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you could just shove a whole bunch on there and less or more or whatever you want.
Exactly.
Now you have another element on here, the leaves.
Yes.
Okay.
So I, again, cut those out with the Simple Stories paper.
Okay, I see you have some pre-cut over here.
And using these two dies from there, I cut out a bunch
from
for
the
us.
Elizabeth Craft design.
Exactly,
Okay.
from the same set.
The same set of pattern paper and the same die set.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yep. And I'm just going to open up this little ink pad from Stampin' Up.
Stampin' Up ink.
And I'm just going to take these and I'm just going to give them a little bit of dimension by dipping them into the edge of the ink pad. Okay, and then I'm just going to take my fingers and give it a little bit of a scrunch. A scrunch is always make anything flat feel more alive.
It's important, and it's a very technical term, scrunch.
A scrunch.
Yes, you need to scrunch.
Yep. Okay, and then we'll just build a bunch of different little petals and we'll layer them around the flower.
So did you adhere this onto a separate sheet and then put it onto your layout, or did
No,
you just
I
work
stuck
right
it
onto
straight on there.
Christy's really brave. She just goes straight to the layout. I might have to work on something else. I think what you did there is absolutely gorgeous, Christy.
Well, and you'll see I used some of the leaves tucked in around the photo and in different places. So I used it to sort of fill in anywhere I felt was blank on the layout.
Fantastic. Intricate dies are not so hard to use.
No.
Get some. Thanks, Christy. Christy is now going to show us how to use die cuts as a stencil.
Yes, because your dies are for more than just layering on your layout.
Which is really important because sometimes when you buy a die, you think that it's just to use as the die cut shape that comes out, but Christy's going to show us how to use it in a stencil form.
Yes.
And you created this gorgeous layout here, which is
Yes.
absolutely stunning. What all did you put on there, Christy?
Okay, so I started with the Stampin' Up! Cardstock. It's this smooth.
Okay.
And when I'm doing mixed media layouts, I like to work with this smooth because you can layer lots of stamps and inks and all that stuff without any
And
texture.
it's nice and it's heavy too, isn't it? So it can handle the
Yeah,
Gloomkin
it's
Love?
pretty good,
Okay,
yeah.
good.
Okay. So the first step that we're going to do is out of this really cool Elizabeth Craft die. You can see
bubbles.
It there. It's bubbles.
That's fun.
Isn't that cute?
Yes.
I cut it like this. So I
That's
cut
what
two.
that's what this is right here on your layout.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we're going to start with
I'll move that
a piece
over.
of paper, just like this, the cardstock.
Right.
Okay, and we're going to just put our stencil down on the edge that we've cut. And this is kind of the exact same cardstock that we're using.
Okay, and you used this is a big shot to cut this stencil out.
Absolutely.
Because it also works with the Elizabeth Craft Designs dies as well.
Yeah, and we're going to create a custom spray. All I'm going to use is just some Stampin' Up! Reinker and a spray bottle with some plain old tap water in it.
So customizing spray is also a really super fun thing to do with any reinker. Is that correct? Or pigment ink and dye ink?
You want to use a dye ink.
A dye ink, okay.
Because the other ones will separate, the dye will stay. So you know what, there's no recipe that says you should add this many drops or that many drops. The more drops you add, the more intense the color.
Okay.
So
I like no recipe, so then you can't screw it up, you're safe.
Exactly,
Okay.
There's no wrong way. So you can see that sort of mixed actually as I was putting it in. Like
Right,
it's
and you just used a Stampin' Up! Reinker.
Yep.
Okay.
Who doesn't have like a bunch of those lying around?
I have a ton.
Yeah, and you could mix colors too, right?
Oh,
so you
fun.
could get your own custom color if you wanted something.
Cool.
But we're just going to use this great color that starts.
Okay, so you're gonna spray, so
I am
let's
gonna
get
spray.
ready.
Are you freaked out by that?
I kind of.
Okay.
Let's just, yeah. Here we go.
I promise I won't spray you.
Here we
Okay.
go.
So, we had some water in the spray thing first, so we're going to get rid of that.
There we
So
go.
I'm just spraying right through here.
So it's a bit messy, so make sure your workstation
So see
around.
how when I lift the stencil, you get this really great pattern that falls through.
Yes, it's very soft too.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, and you can do it in a couple locations.
You can do all different kinds of colors.
Yeah. And I like to add just little spurts of color on other parts of the layout.
And I'm just going to shove this over here so that they can see basically what you're creating on the background.
Yeah, so you see
Yeah.
that there's spray here and here and here and here and here.
Right. Cool. That's nice. Great.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. And that's all you're going to do to just use that as a stencil. Now,
Do you
I don't know
want-
about you.
What are you going to show us the next thing that you've done on here?
Well, I'm going
or-
to show you, because now that you've used that, I'm cheap. Are you cheap?
Well, I like to buy lots of
Thrifty.
stuff. Yeah.
You're
okay.
thrifty, right?
I want to be. My husband wants me to be thrifty.
So does mine. Shh, we won't tell. We're going to let that dry, and when it's dry, we can then take our ink pad.
And it shouldn't take very long to
No,
dry.
it doesn't
No,
take very long
no.
to dry at all. And I'm literally just going to press this down right straight onto the
And
die.
we're working on a non-stick mat, so it should be able to. This is
Absolutely.
going to be able to wash off really easily with a baby wipe or whatever you have at home.
So then now, see how I have this great little die, all colored to the color, that I used on the layout
I see it right there.
as an embellishment.
Right. So you've not wasted a thing,
Not a single thing.
and it's stunning. It's absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So now what you're going to do there, Christy?
Okay, so now I'm going to show how I made what I call a puddle mat.
A what?
A puddle mat.
A puddle mat.
Yeah, and the reason I call it a puddle mat is that it's a puddle of things.
Okay.
Okay, and we're going to use strips
Is that
of-
what you've got going on? That's what you call it. It's a
Exactly.
puddle. Oh, I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see what you did there.
Okay, so I'm going to take this great Stampin' Up! Cutter, and what I love about this cutter is that it also has a score blade on it.
Right.
And you don't have to take it off and put it on.
It just stays
It
there
just
all the
stays
time.
there
It doesn't
all
get
the
in the
time.
way when you cut because it has a spot down there to
Exactly.
for it to call home.
So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to measure out, and I don't measure, I'll be honest. I kind of eyeball.
She's an eyeballer.
I'm an eyeballer. And I'm going to just score right along there like that. Once the score is in, I'm going to give it a little fold in both directions. Not too hard. You could do that. And then I'm going to tear.
I don't know. Okay.
Now what the score does is it gives us kind of a tear, but see how you get that great rough edge?
Right.
Look how awesome
It's sort of
that is.
controlled tearing.
It is
if there's
controlled
such a thing.
tearing.
Okay.
Which is good for some people.
I like controlled tearing. You're way more artsy with me.
No, I
with
just
that.
rip, yeah. So then, speaking of just ripping, I'm just going to take these strips that I've ripped, And I'm going to start to create
your puddle.
A puddle that will go underneath my photo. And I don't see how very not planned it is.
Right.
Not planned is good. I could tuck that underneath. And then I'll use my adhesive, like my Stampin' Up! Tape runner,
right,
and stick it all down.
And you basically, you know, you have a photo already printed out, so you build this based on the size of your photo.
Size of my photo.
Like you did right there.
Yeah. And then I just tucked in some of my embellishments. I cut out my title from this great Elizabeth craft die.
Oh yes, I see that. It's an alphabet die.
And then this die here is what I used for these awesome little embellishments.
This is very funky. This is very, very funky. I love that.
Yeah.
Cool. Customizing your own spray.
Making your own stencil.
Making your own stencil, thank you, Christy. And a puddle mat. Ha! We did a lot today. Thanks, Christy. If there's one thing that I'm a little bit addicted to, it's tissue paper.
Oh, I love it.
It calls my name in the store, and I often buy it, and I have so much of it, and I use it for wrapping presents, but sometimes, actually often, as Christy is going to show us, you can put tissue paper together with all kinds of things to create scrapbooking embellishments. And Christy's going to show us how to use tissue paper along with a die cut from Stampin' Up! And I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, we're going to create these beautiful butterflies.
These butterflies are stunning.
Thanks.
Katarina actually thought they were real. She did. That's how real they look right on this page right here.
There you go. They could just fly right off.
They could. Okay, Christy, get started. Tell us what you used on there.
Okay, so I'm going to start with the Stampin' Up! Cardstock again, right? The smooth cardstock.
Okay.
I use a lot of this. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to do a little bit of how I use stamps to create a mat underneath my photo.
Okay.
Instead of an actual mat.
You know, it's important for people to know at home, actually, that your background is all created. It's just stamp and ink on this right here, right? Yeah.
We just start with plain white paper.
Cardstock, you bet. Okay.
In fact, there is only cardstock in this layout.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so one of the first tricks that I like to do when I'm creating a stamped mat is you can see there's a little tiny pencil line here. I don't know if you can see that.
Yes, I can see it very well.
What I've done is I've just traced my photo where I want to put it with that little pencil line. Then
before you stamp anything,
okay,
that is a very good trick.
That lets me know where I'm going to put my stamps and that they're going to show out from underneath my photo.
They're going to peek out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good trick, good trick.
So I just used some Stampin' Up! Old Olive. This is one that I've had for ever and ever and ever.
It's a classic color. I think it's one of the first colors I bought from Stampin' Up!
Absolutely. And then I used this one, which is a newer set. It's called
Kinda Electric?
Eclectic.
Eclectic. See, I can't
It's electric too, though. It really is.
It's electric, it's eclectic, and I'll stop talking, and you start stamping, and we're good to go.
Here we go. I'll let you stamp. Do you want to stamp?
Oh, I do. Yes,
yeah,
of course
absolutely.
I do.
So whenever you're loading a stamp, you should always lay your stamp flat on a surface. That's okay. It just hadn't stuck down.
Yeah, it hadn't stuck yet.
That's
okay.
all good. And always put ink to the stamp. Never put stamp to your ink.
And Why, Christy?
Because then you're just hitting the top surface of the stamp. So you're going to get a much nicer print than if you had done it the other way.
I always thought that if you pushed it into the stamp pad that you also got ink into all of the crevices.
Yeah, but you don't want that.
You don't
that's
want
how
that.
You get a mookie
That's why you
finish.
want to go this way.
And that's a technical term too, mookie.
Mookie finish.
Yep.
Yes, I agree.
So just tap that right along the top of the stamp.
Okay. I feel like I'm going to
a little harder.
I feel like I'm going to be
beautiful.
Beautiful.
Okay.
And it's still kind of not stuck.
It is, but we'll just let it work. Okay, and then we're just going to flip it over.
Where do you want it?
And you could just put it anywhere.
Anywhere?
Yeah.
Oh, Christy.
Okay, well sometimes that happens.
Actually,
so if you don't
Christy
have
doesn't
a block,
use actually, I'm surprised you have an acrylic block right now. Christy usually doesn't use a block. She uses her fingers.
And I'll here,
so
I
I'm
can
glad
show
that
you
happened.
why.
So now you can see.
Okay, so we're going to put this right on the paper, and I like to squish it right in. But if you don't use a block, you can do this thing I call peeking. And you could peek to make sure that your image is good. And because you've held it in place, if it's not, you can push it back down. And then it gives you a little cheat.
Good.
But lots of girls like the block because of the handle, right? It makes it much easier.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
So
so
that's
now
how
what?
we created our background.
Good job on
simple?
saving my
Okay, I'm going to put it aside
stamp
here.
job I did there. Okay, next.
And now we're going to make the beautiful, beautiful butterflies that we have here. And I've cut 2 sizes. And I've used this great die from Stampin' Up! As well.
Cut it out with the Big Shot.
Cut it out with the Big Shot.
Actually, that is a stunning die.
It is. It's so, here it is cut. And all I've cut this with is just the basic Stampin' Up! Black cardstock.
Okay.
Nothing too fancy.
Now the tissue paper's coming out. The tissue paper's coming out.
And tissue paper. Now.
Any particular brand of tissue paper?
No.
Doesn't matter. Anything.
The dollar store.
Yeah.
You'll notice that this one here, see, I just picked this up at my local probably Dollarama or Dollar Store or any of those ones. And then to make the butterfly have colors, because a plain color butterfly is boring, what I've done is I've taken this great stamp called Dotty Angles, okay, and I've stamped just with dye ink right onto the tissue paper. Okay, and I don't worry about it being perfect or anything, because by the time we're done, we're not going to see any of that pattern.
Okay.
Okay, and then I'm going to take some gel medium.
Okay.
So gel medium is basically glue.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to let you do it. And what I'm going to have you do is just brush it all over the butterfly.
So you just gunk it in.
Just stick the brush in and brush it all over the butterfly.
Okay. I'm just going to move that over there. So this is like, why can't we use like a white adhesive, like a liquid adhesive? Is there a difference?
Because it dries too quickly.
Okay.
Okay, and the other thing that you'll find, and then it'll just make a huge, huge mess. So you could use like a white glue. If you live in a really humid place, then you're probably good, but...
How's that? Did I do it
But
good?
most of Canada's pretty dry.
Okay.
So
basically,
the gel medium works better.
Takes longer to dry.
Yeah.
Okay. And it dries clear?
It dries completely clear.
Okay.
And matte.
Oh,
Because we're using a matte.
We want to leave it down.
That's
Christy, I
okay.
didn't know.
Then we're going to take this. We're going to use that again, so don't take it too far.
Okay, back it comes.
We're going to put this right over top. Okay.
And does it matter what side? You just, it's because it's totally
Whichever
goes
side
through anyway.
works best.
Okay.
So we're going to put it right over top. Okay, and then we're going to flip it over. I'm going to have you put another coat of gel medium. What this does is it increases the translucency of the tissue paper as well, which is what gives you that beautiful kind of realistic shimmery butterfly.
Stained glass.
Exactly.
The stained glass effect. Oh, wow, my brain is just turning with the things that you could do with this.
And you want to go over the whole butterfly.
Oh, and I just wrecked part
of
of
it.
it.
You didn't wreck anything. It's totally forgiving, so.
Go over the whole butterfly.
Over the whole butterfly.
Oh my gosh. Are you sure this is going to work?
Oh, I promise this is going to work.
Okay.
Tissue paper rips and stuff when it's wet, but once the glue dries, it's actually harder and harder to rip than paper. Now, by the magic of TV, I have this one that I did earlier.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. And then you're just going to take your scissors and cut it out.
Oh. And did you, did you go right to the...
I went right to the edge.
Okay. How come I'm doing all the work, Christy? You're putting me to work.
Because I'm smart.
So we just go ahead and cut her out.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, so then once this is done, I like to make my butterflies a little 3D. So I'm just going to bend up the leaf like that on one side of the body and bend up the leaf on the other side of the body And then you can just glue it to your page.
Did you put any, you don't have any adhesive, like any, or you could use some of the 3D foam squares if you wanted to
If you're
underneath
worried
there.
about it getting squished in your book, you could absolutely put that in there. But I just glued the base of the body and stuck it right down, right on the layout.
Very nice.
Then I just finished it off with this great larger-than-life alphabet. And this die cut is also a Stampin' Up! Die cut. The little happy that's on here is this Hello Thinlet set.
Oh yeah, that's pretty. That's, you know what, the detail of the dies are
so
phenomenal
beautiful.
that are out there today.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, Christy, tissue paper, gel, medium, this was fabulous. I had a lot of fun. Thank you.
I had fun too.
Christy has put together this spectacular layout using all of the techniques from the last 3 segments.
Yes.
And you put them all together on one gorgeous layout, and it looks fantastic. It doesn't look like you did too much. It looks like you did everything just the right amount.
The trick is the balance, right? Having enough empty space with your busy space.
Yes, balance. Balance is important. So do you want to just kind of walk us through again what you did?
Sure. So you'll see here and here that I did the stencil. This time I used that same chicken wire L's die.
Right.
And then sprayed through it like a stencil.
And you used your customized
I did
spray
use the exact
for
same
that.
customized spray.
I love that. I'm going to be doing that.
Yeah. I created layered flowers. This time I used the hydrangea and the poinsettia.
I love that you used a poinsettia die on a non-Christmas themed
Making
layout.
it pink makes it not, it just looks like a regular garden
Looks
flower.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And there's so much detail to all of those layering that you did there.
Yeah.
And you used the Tombow mono
multi to glue it all together.
Okay. And it's nice and clear, you can't see it at all.
No, you'll see that I use that same stamp set, the Kinda Eclectic.
The Stampin' Up! Stamp set.
To do some more stamping in the background.
And you used different shades of the Stampin' Up! ink.
I did. I used the Cucumber Crush and the Mint Macaroon.
And that also makes it dimensional when you use different shades of the same color, is that right?
Exactly. Creating that look of texture when there really isn't any.
Right.
Okay, and then of course we topped it off with another beautiful butterfly.
Beautiful butterfly with tissue paper.
Yes.
Stunning. It's that stained glass effect.
Yep.
It's absolutely stunning. Here did you just spritz the tissue paper?
No,
Because
actually,
it doesn't look like you stamped.
I just rubbed right onto the tissue paper the ink from the ink pad, right? And then just used a wet wipe to blend it to get that varying degree of color.
So you used the wet wipe right on the tissue paper after
after I put the ink on.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. There you go.
Baby wipes are like one of the best things you can buy.
I'll be trying that. And I see hiding behind here, you also have just a little
bit. That's this flourishes and branches. Actually, I love how these little swirls make the antennae for the butterfly in this. And then these little beaded things just stick out.
Very nice. And then you went around and you just edged around your
with a gel pen.
With a gel pen, and
really
this is
simple.
your handwriting.
Absolutely, I totally believe you should always write on your your layouts.
I actually have to agree with you with that one. Yep. I think that telling your story is what scrapbooking is all about, and sometimes we get lost and we don't tell our story.
Yes.
And even though a picture is worth 1,000 words, your story is still really super duper important. Yeah. Christy, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Are you going to come back?
You bet.
Going to say it on film so that we got you? Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care and happy scrapbooking.